Fair, accurate, to the point. The noon news starts now on Montana's news station.
Disturbing new details about the suspect as thousands are expected to come together to say goodbye. I'm Karen Brown in Tucson, Arizona, and coming up, we'll have the very latest.
And 2 people are dead after a house fire in Kalispell. Those stories and more right now. Good afternoon. So glad you're with us today. I'm Angela Douglas.
I'm Ed McIntosh. Temperatures are starting to move up, but the winds and the chance of snow,
of course, is coming with
they
it.
Always, yeah, something's always in the mix, isn't it?
It sure is.
Especially across Montana. Missoula right now got light snow that's been falling throughout the day, and visibility has been down to 1.5 miles to 3/4 of a mile at times. So travel hazards, not only with the snow, but the potential for some freezing rain and even some wind. You can see that moving the camera around a little bit. Temperatures at 14 degrees. Missoula, Kalispell, you're at 10 degrees. Helena now 12. Bozeman's up to 14, and Billings has jumped from single digits up to 12 degrees here. A nice little jump even in the last hour. Last report, Lewistown came in at 33, and Great Falls, you've actually jumped 10 degrees here in the last hour. So the wind and the snow will continue to move in down the east slopes, and cold air holds on to the east. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes.
Yeah, a little bit of variety across the state right now at this hour.
Absolutely, a lot going on and a lot in the next 24 hours.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Our top story this noon, fire officials are hard at work trying to determine what sparked a deadly fire this morning in the Flathead. 2 residents died and a firefighter was hurt in the blaze, which ripped apart a home at 305 Liberty Street. Kalispell Fire Department Operations Chief Dave Dedman reports when crews arrived on scene at about 1:45 a.m., they found heavy fire coming from the front, rear, and roof of the residence, as well as thick smoke inside the structure. The intensity of the blaze forced crews to attack the fire from the outside. The bodies of the 2 adults were found inside the home after the blaze was extinguished. Their names have not been released. Dedman reports that the home is a total loss, but the cost of the damage to the house has not yet been determined. Multiple agencies responded to the fire. Well, authorities have identified a 68-year-old man who died while skiing at the Whitefish Mountain Resort over the weekend. Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry says Richard Swope of Whitefish died of natural causes Saturday. Swope collapsed while skiing on an intermediate run and was taken to North Valley Hospital in Whitefish, where he was pronounced dead. His death came the same day a 29-year-old snowboarder suffocated on the mountain after crashing into a tree well. A 53-year-old man also died the same day after being caught in an avalanche while snowmobiling in the South Fork of the Flathead River drainage. Well, just a week into his term, Wyoming's 32nd governor, Matthew Mead, delivered his first State of the State address this morning. Mead delivered the address to the 61st Wyoming State Legislature. Distinguished guests from the state and his family, including his son Pete, who turned 11 today. Mead spent most of his 45-minute speech focusing on creating jobs and conservative budget for Wyoming in 2011.
I will tell you that from my point of view, I'm interested in those laws that will help those who cannot find work. I'm interested in laws that do not make small business owners shudder, wondering what rules and regulations will come out. We should pay attention to what matters most. Let's provide a framework where individuals, through hard work, innovation, and dedication, can enjoy the freedoms of Wyoming.
Mead also spoke at length on funding for education and his belief in the potential of making wind energy profitable in Wyoming. A Thompson Falls lawmaker wants Montanans to have the option of hunting with a hand-thrown spear. The Senate Fish and Game Committee discussed Republican Senator Greg Hinkle's bill yesterday and nearly voted to approve it. However, they decided the bill needed to clarify the hunting season in which the practice would be allowed. The committee is expected to consider the bill again tomorrow. Hinkle says about a dozen other states have legalized the use of spears in hunting. Senate Bill 112 would also allow a spear thrown with a separate device to increase power. Spear hunters often await their game from up in trees or track the game with dogs. The Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is taking no position on the bill. New details are coming out about the events leading up to the deadly shooting in Arizona, as Tucson prepares for a community-wide memorial service attended by the President and First Lady. Karen Brown reports.
Just hours before Saturday's shooting, Jared Loeffner was pulled over by authorities for running a red light. The officer checked his license, then let him go with a verbal warning. That day, Loeffner was also seen removing a black bag from a family car. When his father asked him about it, the 22-year-old took off running. Investigators have not found the bag, but inside Loeffner's home, they have discovered a written note with the word die in it. Police believe it refers to Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords.
I was the last person he shot before he had to reload.
Mary Reed survived the shooting after being shot 3 times. She was hit in both arms, and a third bullet is still lodged in her back.
The gunman had no expression on his face. It was very blank.
Memorials continue for those injured and killed in Saturday's shooting. Tonight, President Obama and the First Lady will attend a memorial service here at the University of Arizona, where folks are already lining up. Hundreds packed this Tucson church Tuesday night to pray for the survivors and mourn the dead. One of the victims, Christina Green, sang in this children's choir. Her family sat in the front row.
Love each other, forgive each other.
Doctors are optimistic about Congresswoman Giffords' recovery. These photos taken the day after the shooting show Giffords' husband, Mark Kelly, at her bedside, holding her hand. Karen Brown, CBS News, Tucson, Arizona.
Authorities say that Loeffner was stopped by police for running a red light the morning of the shooting. Straight ahead on the noon news, we're looking at some hazardous travel conditions across the state. Ed McIntosh brings us the weather forecast after the break and later in the show.
1 year after an earthquake devastated Haiti, the country remains in crisis.
Reporting you can trust with Angela Douglas. Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh. And farm and ranch news from the Northern Ag Network.